Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? Do you think you're playing football? You are showing me nothing.
Fires, Mike Sims, Walker, knocked down.
Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.
In trouble, he's going to be sacked. No, gets away. He runs, gets away again, goes to the 40, gets away again.
Jackson takes it himself. Look at him turn back and forth. Oh! He broke his ankles.
I have never seen this before in my life.
Still looking, firing, near corner. It's caught.
Denver, unbelievable.
And welcome to the Fourth Down Fiasco.
Welcome back to FANBASE Fiasco, our mainstay off-season content where we interview a fan from every single NFL franchise. If you liked our intro song, that is from Cam Hayden. You can find his music on Apple Music and Spotify, and you can even buy his book titled Working on the Process on Amazon as well. With us is our Jacksonville correspondent, my close friend Brady Huston. Say hello to the people, Brady.
Hello. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
We're glad you're here.
Yeah, glad to get
Not
this
many
going.
Jacksonville fans we can bring on. There's only a couple of you guys.
There's like 6 of them, I think.
Yeah. All you guys and the Chargers fans kind of hide out together.
Yeah.
Create like a mid-sized party, like a mid-sized wedding venue. So I got to kick us off with the most important questions for a Jags fan, right? How does it feel to know that God hates your team?
It, it makes me feel seen because
Yeah.
J-Man gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. And that's what it means to follow this team.
That's probably one of the best answers we've had from our bullshit questions.
It's a great question.
I mean, it's definitely the trials and tribulations, right? I mean, it doesn't get much more heart-wrenching.
Yeah. But let's start off with an actual question. How did you become a fan of your team?
Well, I mean, it's pretty mundane, but my cousin liked the team when I was a kid, and it was one of the only teams I knew about besides like, the 49ers. And I was like, hey, that's a pretty cool logo. I like those colors. I'm going to follow this team. And I mean, living in Utah, we do have that luxury of just kind of picking one. And I'm not going to be a Broncos fan. I'm sorry.
That's fair.
But I mean, I know that's like
Good call.
one of the closer ones, but and yeah, I'm grateful, really.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So we'll kick back through it, having the unique situation of being a Utah Jags fan, right? I mean, we talked about the 12 Jags fans in existence. I mean, it's got to just be you, right? The Utah-based like you hold the fan club, like everyone comes, you and all the voices in your head all kind of get together, talk about how things are going.
You beat me to it. Yeah, it's just me and the people in my walls and in my mind. We talk about the Jags all day. It's great.
Yeah, that's torture, man. So who has been your favorite player, as well as the 12 voices you got talking to you all the time, that you've watched throughout your lifetime?
I mean, there's really only so many to choose from that have been like outstanding, but I mean, Trevor Lawrence, 2022, that season was just incredible. I mean, nail biter after nail biter. And that dude balls out.
He does ball sometimes.
Usually.
No, Trevor Lawrence is insanely fun to watch. I mean, just a lot of the passing mechanics he has, the ability he has with that arm, the accuracy he portrays through his games, like he is definitely one of those like manufactured QBs. We like kind of talk about a lot about like the modern basketball players. It's like, yeah, Victor Wembanyama came out of lab, right? Yeah. And it's like Trevor Lawrence almost feels like he came out of a lab to play quarterback, right? It's kind of that same Andrew Luck archetype where it's just there's not a lot of flaws there. And it's beautiful to watch the way he plays football and just the amount of like mechanics that he is down that quite frankly only like a few other quarterbacks in the NFL have. Only he has the same elite tools that the top 5 guys do. He just falls out of the top 5s because it's the Jags, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It still baffles me every time I see Trevor Lawrence next to another player just because of how big he actually is. I always forget that he's like 6'6" with cleats on.
Yeah,
he's tall.
Pretty big dude. I mean, when he does the occasional scramble, I mean, sometimes he'll be stiff arming guys.
Yeah. I can't picture him and Josh Allen like being so close in height and weight standing next to each other. I just can't get that through my head.
Yeah, no, he's huge. Now, looking back at players maybe you didn't get, and I know the Jags are a relatively young franchise. Were they 93 or were they 99?
95.
95. So you've pretty much been alive for their entire history, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like a year older than them.
Yeah. So this is going to be a little bit harder of a question to answer, obviously, just because you've pretty much watched most of the Jags players, but maybe someone when you were younger that you really didn't get to appreciate. What is a player from your team's past that you wish you could have watched more and appreciated more?
Probably Fred Taylor.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a dog, man.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see nearly enough. And really, I was so young when he was playing, and I didn't really appreciate, what he had there. Another one that I put down was MJD. I mean, that was a little later on.
Yeah.
But what's kind of interesting is I didn't actually follow football in the 2017 season. So
really?
I never watched Bortles. I caught up on all the Saxonville stuff because while I was at school, I just wasn't really watching football.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But I mean, it's almost better that I missed out on it because then I would probably just feel better about that too because Miles Jack was down thing and Patriots are the worst and all that stuff. I mean,
Patriots,
whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, same story, different day.
Yeah.
It's okay. I wish I didn't watch the 2017 season, so I'm a little jealous that you missed out on that one, honestly. Fucking Leonard Fournette turned into super. Regardless, though, with the Jacksonville running backs, I mean, Jacksonville has a really good history of great running backs. I mean, Fred Taylor, Jesus, I can't speak. Maurice Jones-Drew, and then even Leonard Fournette. Those first couple of seasons. I mean,
oh yeah,
some of the runs that Leonard Fournette was doing 2017 to 2018, man, he was jumping piles.
He was a monster.
It was insane.
Mm-hmm.
So, despite being a young franchise, I mean, there's a lot of perennial running back talent that the Jags have been blessed with.
Yeah,
definitely. And ETN isn't too bad either.
Oh, ETN is good. You guys have been lucky.
Definitely.
All right. This past season, what was your favorite moment?
This was the funniest question to me because when I was reading these questions last week, I put nothing. I wrote nothing. And even today, I was trying to be well, there has to be something. And there is, but it was so short-lived. I mean, who even cares, right?
The final whistle of week 18?
Yeah. No, it was that it was that 60 minutes or 2 hours where they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. For just this tiny little oh, hey, that's the Jags logo up there on that graphic. Hey, look at that. Someone said the name of our team without slandering them.
You do a little double take. Like, wait, is that us? That's a mistake. That's
so funny because
it's pretty cool.
It literally was 2 hours. It was like the morning slot games ended. It's like the Jags got the 1 seed, and then the afternoon games happened, and it was already gone.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was
holy shit. This might be
that was the hardest question.
Oh, great.
This might be the most depressing one we've done.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Let's go to the flip side of that. If you had no good things, what's the worst thing this season?
I got a list.
Rattle it off. Let's go.
3 things. Trevor getting injured against the Bengals. That was
my bad.
Terrifying. Are you a Bengals fan?
Yeah, I'm from Cincinnati.
Hey, that's cool, man.
Hey,
respect. All good. I'll get you. No, I'm just kidding. Nah. Seeing him go down was pretty rough. I thought that he was like a down. Because when he slammed the turf and he was, that was the reaction of a man who was going to miss some time.
Yeah.
And,
how he didn't miss any time is beyond me.
Yeah, that's where it gets tricky. But the other 2 things,
me right there.
The entirety of the 49ers game, which I had the displeasure of witnessing in person.
Oh, that's right.
First time in Jacksonville.
I'm sorry.
My wife Katie, my sweet wife, is a 49ers fan.
Oh.
And so we saw that on the schedule and we're like, we have to go. Like we got to go watch them. It's going to be awesome. And they were going into that game. I think they were 8-3 at that time, like right before that game, or maybe 8-4. I'm not sure. But I was feeling pretty confident. It's like, hey, they might at least keep it close. But no, that was a rough time. And we had
happy, right?
Oh, Katie had a blast. That was the best part. Definitely. I was very happy for her.
Fun, right? What's the saying, like happy wife, happy life or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And that whole thing was interesting too, because while we were there, I guess that area had sort of some like uncharacteristic fog that normally isn't that foggy. But if you've been to San Francisco, you know that they have a name for their fog, and I forget what it's called, but everyone was kind of joking that it followed the team, and it just sort of encapsulated the whole area, and it was fate for my wife to see.
Oof.
You went to the NFL game experience of like a Silent Hill, like
yeah. Meanwhile, I'm in like a survival horror game, just trying not to attack the Niners fan. Not her, but there was a group right next to us who,
oof.
They were hammered before the national anthem even started.
Happens.
And they had a lot to say. So that was, hey, like I said though, the strongest soldiers, toughest battles. Jags fan. That's it. And then the last thing was Trevor's fumble against the Ravens. That was a gut punch. That ball just fell out of his hand, and there is no defending that one. So those were my 3. But
wow,
there you go.
I would say to pick up the spirits, but we're just going. We're hammering in. We're just like,
let's rip off the Band-Aid.
We're just going deep in the core.
You're not coming up yet.
We're just gonna stay drowning. Eventually, we'll surface though. The Jags started 8-3, and then they fell to 9-8. Who do you think deserves the most blame for that collapse? Like, who do you think is most responsible for, a historic collapse?
Yeah. This one was also pretty tough because it's hard to really pin it on one person. But if I had to pin it on a player, it's Luke Fortner, our center, because that man was a revolving door this season, and the rest of the interior really struggled trying to pick up his slack. and that he was part of the reason that Trevor Lawrence was the least blitzed quarterback all season. Because you don't, why blitz when you don't need to?
The center's just going to fall over. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but if it had to be a non-player, excuse me. Jags Twitter would rejoice this answer, by the way. Trent Baalke. The depth of the roster was really bad, and it really showed because when the system was complete and everyone was healthy, they were playing pretty well. But as soon as you take out one piece, it started to slip like really fast. Like, Cam Robinson, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk later in the year. Like, each of those kind of staggered injuries really just threw a wrench into their, glass armor, I guess is what you could call it.
Yeah, because there's just no one else to even put in at that point.
Yeah, and the game plan would just fall apart.
Isn't it crazy that Baalke's still there despite, Jags fans showing up in clown outfits, Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't have this marked down, but are you still, like, and speaking for, most of the, Jags fans, right? Are you still in the boat, like, Baalke needs to go?
Big picture, yeah. But I will say that he nearly pulled off a masterclass this offseason. He nearly did it. It may seem like I'm joking, but had we been able to get Calvin Ridley back and only give up that third round pick and still end up with him on the team, that in combination with the other pickups were really great. But when that fell through, it was kind of like, well, man, I mean, Trent, he took the risk and
it didn't pay off.
Here we are. Yeah.
I don't think anyone expected Ridley to sign for $98 million.
Yeah. My God.
That's absurd.
50 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
How could he not? How could he not take that deal?
Maybe above average season last year. Nothing spectacular.
Oh, yeah. Unreal contract for a player of his caliber. And
he was gone for 2 years, came back for a year, and then got $100 million.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I got all kinds of things to say about that, but we'll save it.
It's on here. We'll get into it.
Before we get into that, how would you grade your season A through F?
I put C-.
C-.
And I do feel that is somewhat optimistic because at the end of the day, Trevor is developing, and that's my end game as a fan right now. Obviously the way it ended was just terrifically bad.
Yeah.
But I am not really going to blame Trevor for that because he's trying to play hero ball the whole time because of how many things were missing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, C-.
That's fair. Fair. Well, let's say first half of the season compared to second half. What would you say your 8-3 start?
It honestly could have been a lot better. So even in that first part, I would have said like a B.
That's fair.
Probably.
Have we had anyone say an A yet?
Someone. Oh, the Texans guy.
Texans, yeah, that's
obviously.
Fair. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Our Cowboys person said it. Our Cowboys person said an F. I know that.
Ooh. Ouch.
Super Bowl or bust.
Yeah.
All right. How do you feel about Doug Peterson, his potential as a franchise head coach?
overall, I love him. I mean, this guy, I think that Doug Peterson's a pretty special guy in terms of just who he is, and he is a culture building kind of dude that players want to follow, and like the buy-in for any locker room is so important, and I feel that he takes that really seriously. But as far as shortcomings for Doug, I think that he might stick to his guns and might play, make aggressive decisions every once in a while. But that was part of why I loved watching the Jags in 2022. Like when they went for it on fourth down, or no, I think it was just a 2-point conversion against the Ravens to seal it out. That was electric. Yeah. And I love when he calls plays.
Yeah. There was a weird year with the Marvin Lewis era in Cincinnati where like we barely punt. We ran fake field goals, fake punts, if we even did punt. And then all of a sudden it just like stopped. And it was so exciting to watch that. And no one knows why he just like flipped back. It was the strangest thing.
Well, that's what's so exciting about watching coaches kind of like Doug Peterson and Dan Campbell is, they're going to make the game exciting, and they're going to take those risks, and they're not just going to accept that like the game's out of reach or we're going to run the ball, play safe. Like they're trying to demoralize the other team, or they're going to like fight until like the very last second. Yeah. And it's really entertaining as a fan to always watch that, but it also leads to the games where, stat sheets look terrible. And I think a lot of times, and I'll help defend you here a little bit, Brady. A lot of times people look at Trevor Lawrence's stat sheet and they're always like, oh my God, you took this guy at number 1. They said he was going to be this guy. And it's like, you're not watching what he has to go through, like he's having to crawl his way out of these games. Yeah. And sometimes he walks away with it. Sometimes he doesn't. And it doesn't make for a pretty stat sheet, but when you watch the film, it's, he's special. So,
I saw a basketball stat the other day, but it kind of correlates to the rest of like the major sports that no lead nowadays is really safe. And the stat I saw was like through 2004 to like 2010, if there was a 20-point lead in the NBA, there were only 5 comebacks. In the past 2 years, there have been 25 20-point comebacks. And
wow.
And you can kind of say the same thing about football. No lead is safe anymore. Like, I don't know what it is, but we've seen so many crazy comebacks. Even your playoff game, what was that, 2 years ago? Yeah. And it's just like, what is going on with why no lead is safe? Like, what has changed?
What was the comeback for that? Was it 24-0?
It was, I think it was 27. 27-0.
Wow.
And they got a touchdown right before half.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah. That was an unreal game.
I was at a bowling alley and I was like, oh, it's over. And I turned around 20 minutes later and I was like, you guys are within 10. And then I turned around again and you guys were winning.
Yeah. I saw stories of people who left the stadium and would, they didn't tune in. They had no idea. They were just so over it. I was like, damn.
I saw so many like funny betting videos that were like, oh, like this dude bet on a comeback and then like fell asleep and woke up the next morning.
It's brutal. Yeah, no, that's definitely interesting though, because there has been a lot in the NFL of these just like huge leagues coming back. I mean, we had that Colts Vikings one 2 years ago. That was crazy too. Yeah. I'm sure that was just as satisfying for you too, right, Brady? I mean, obviously the Jags one's going to be more satisfying, but it's always good watching your divisional rival lose that way, right?
Yeah, naturally. But it's funny because the Colts are like my least, like I don't really hate the Colts.
They're just there.
Yeah. They're doing their thing.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say, and that's cool.
Where are you at with that with the AFC South? Like who's top of the totem pole where you're like, I can't stand this team. I can't.
Oh man. The Titans.
Titans.
100% the Titans. Yeah.
Fair.
It's the elitism and the, you'll never be blah, blah, blah. It's like, guys, when they show graphics for your games in prime time, where's your quarterback? It's Derrick Henry. That's all you got. Like,
that's true.
You know what I mean? I mean,
they had AJ Brown.
Yeah. They did have AJ.
They had him. Oh, that's brutal.
I can tell you this though, it's not the Texans. I really like the Texans.
Just give it a couple years.
Hey, I tried to warn everybody last year.
Oh, the CJ Stroud stand.
Look out. Yeah. They drafted so well last year. My God.
It was great. It helps when you have like the first or the second and the fourth overall pick, but that's besides the point.
Yeah.
A little useful. Let's circle back to Doug Peterson real quick.
Yeah. I was just about to say you have high praise for Doug Peterson. Is there any other coach in Jags history that you've been satisfied with?
Not really. It's hard to compare to Doug because I feel like he's kind of breaking new ground with the team and the fan base, and
success seems to follow him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a statue of him in Philadelphia.
That's true.
I mean, that's that's reason enough for me to be like, well, this guy is pretty special.
Oh yeah, for sure. Not a big Jack
coach
Del
with a
Rio
Super
guy.
Bowl win.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got through the coach. We've already extensively talked about Trevor Lawrence, but I mean, it's the Jags. We got to talk as much about Trevor Lawrence as we possibly can. Mm-hmm. Do you believe he's a franchise guy?
Yeah, without question. I, especially after seeing all the QB shuffling this year, it's like I don't know. I look at a team like the Vikings who just picked up Sam Darnold.
Dude, you're not excited
like,
for
you poor things, man. I feel incredibly lucky to have Trevor Lawrence. Like,
oh yeah.
There's so many quarterbacks that I would not pick over him.
What's wrong with Sam Darnold?
Hey, we all know.
He's seeing ghosts. It's fine.
Hey,
dude, poor Vikings fans, man. That's gonna be.
I still love when your mascot dressed up as a ghost the week after Darnold was like, "Oh, I was just seeing ghosts out there."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Your mascot's great.
With Trevor Lawrence being a franchise guy, though, were you disappointed in him last season?
At times. Overall, no. I see. I try to look at a lot of this stuff like big picture. I don't think it's really fair to, look at some of his mistakes like in a microscope, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like I am I'm the kind of guy who's not really here for the Trevor Lawrence slander. Because I think that there are so many factors, and this is true for any quarterback, that influence, their stat sheet and how, their success. And having a good center is pretty high on the list.
A little useful.
Yeah.
It's okay. The Steelers center was also the same way.
Dude.
Mason Cole, dude, that guy doesn't belong in the UFL. That guy's terrible.
I like our center.
Good for you.
Yeah.
We only had to steal him from Tom Brady, but that's fine.
Yeah. Oh, man. Do you think Trevor Lawrence currently is a top 10 guy in the league?
Statistically? Or just in my own opinion?
Just in your opinion. If you were going to, rank them side by side and be like, I got this guy at 1, this guy at 10.
He's in the top 10.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's probably a bunch of stats that would say otherwise, and I do not care.
Would you put him in the top 5?
Not after this season, because there was enough that he left out there, kind of on his own, that just sort of put him on the bubble for me. Like if we're talking top 10, like, I'd optimistically put him at like a 6, maybe a 7. Hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say when you don't have like the list made, but
I'm all in for sure, 100%.
I mean, that's probably where I'd have Lawrence in mind, though. Like thinking about it off the top of my head, he's probably somewhere in that like 5 to 8 range, depending on how you want to shuffle that around.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I mean, he's had stretches of games where you're like, yeah, this guy's top 5, no doubt. But then there's the other stretches where not so much.
Hit or miss.
Oh, it's not great.
Yeah.
So let's jump into free agency real quick. So far, I know free agency officially started today, but legal tampering was on Monday. Mm-hmm. How would you grade your free agency so far, 8F?
So let's see. I put a B-, and I think that is also a little generous. It's probably more like a C+ with what happened with Josh Allen and Calvin Ridley. The Mitch Morse signing was life-giving. I cannot emphasize how much I have been complaining about our center and how much that needed to happen like as soon as possible, because you just can't have it, man. And as far as the other pickups, like Duvernay, I thought was a good pickup because the intention is to have him replace Jamal Agnew, who, by the way, I'm a big fan of Jamal Agnew, minus the part where he fumbled the ball against the Chiefs in the red zone a couple years ago.
It happens.
Yeah. Hey,
but
what can you do?
Is Jamal Agnew still on the Jags right now?
No, I think that they've already cut him, or they plan to.
Okay.
But looking at some of your other signings real quick, you got Ezra Cleveland, you got Darnell Savage, you got Gabe Davis replaces Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, so far, yeah. I can tell you what Balky's vision was and what it isn't anymore. I think his goal was to replace Zay Jones with Gabe Davis, and then we keep Calvin, and between him, Kirk, and Davis, it would have been beautiful, a really nice lineup. But I love the Gabe Davis pickup. I saw that he's pretty good at like contested catches, which is I think kind of an underrated metric. Especially when in the NFL it's like such tight windows, and
if you can get a guy to go up and grab a ball, that's amazing. Totally.
I mean, so with the Gabe Davis signing, being satisfied with it, do you think because Bills fans absolutely hate Gabe Davis. I don't know if you've followed much in that circle or heard much about that. And I don't really get it either. But do you trust him to be like a good serviceable number 2 behind Christian Kirk?
I think so. Of course, aside from today, I was like, oh, he's going to be wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, the way that I gauge a lot of this stuff is just totally random, really. And one of those things is Katie, my wife, drafted Stephon Diggs in fantasy. And whenever the Bills would play, a touchdown would happen, and she'd be like, oh, why isn't it Diggs? And it was always Gabe Davis getting the touchdowns. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know. I can't help you. I don't know. It just keeps happening.
I could realistically see Davis fighting for that wide receiver 1 on this current wide receiver room with Jacksonville.
You think so?
I could. He had he was always behind Diggs, so he wasn't getting as many targets. and now you don't have a Diggs on your team. You don't have a top 5 receiver, and with Lawrence, I feel like he'll target Davis more. But that's my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I could be way wrong, but like I could see him leading the league in yards next year, or not league, team in yards. Wow.
Yeah. I say, holy shit, man, you are really high on Gabe Davis.
I love Gabe Davis. Huge Gabe Davis guy.
I think it's possible. I don't think that's like an outlandish statement by any.
Unless you guys draft one of the top 3 rookie wide receivers, I could see him. Being up there.
So I'm gonna circle back to the other wide receiver question we got. Are you doing okay mentally seeing Ridley go to the Titans?
Keep in mind the price tag.
Yeah, it was a shocker, no doubt about it. Let me see what I wrote down here. Yeah, okay. I'm good because it's so heartwarming to see wide receivers go to retire in Tennessee. And I think that he deserves all of that money.
A 29-year-old retiring.
Yep. Dude, you give a guy $50 million guaranteed. You think he's not going to get complacent with that kind of money?
He's probably just going to go gamble again.
Come on.
Dude, it's going all on red.
Oh, God.
that $50 million guarantee, red. Let's see what happens.
He still 46 left over.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But hey, you have Will Levis and Mason Rudolph throwing you the football. Good luck.
Have fun. Yeah. Good luck. I mean, overall, I think they've actually pieced together something pretty decent.
The Titans have made some moves.
Good luck with Will Levis. Seriously. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Something off about that guy.
Maybe it's because he put mayo in his coffee, but that's a whole side story.
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about.
That's a little weird. The other big move Jacksonville did this offseason, do you think it was smart to franchise tag your Josh Allen?
Oh, the better Josh Allen?
Just kidding. We hate Josh Allen on this podcast, so yeah.
Oh, beautiful. No, I think that was not a good move. No. A lot of people thought that it was sort of a stopgap to try to buy more time to work out a cheaper deal, which I think is just a really stupid move from Balky. A lot of people really wanted them to use the franchise tag on Ridley and get a contract extension for Josh Allen before all of that.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened. So
brutal.
He put it on red and it did not work out.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with one of your signees so far, do you think good old Doug will utilize Devin Duvernay in the return game for the Jags?
Yeah, 100%. He's going to basically replace Jamal Agnew and what he was doing. And Agnew would he'd be the returner, and they would also, a lot of people say gadget plays, where you kind of bring him in while he's fresh and draw up a play specifically for him and see if he can take off. Yeah, I think we'll see him occasionally also just, on some sort of trick play or something.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
Do you guys have a CB1 currently? Like, who's your best?
No idea, dude.
Defensive back.
I have no idea. That has been one of the biggest moving pieces of the defense. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Ryan Nielsen hire. Because I guess he's like all about like press coverage and, dealing with I guess he like specializes in the secondary. I don't know. There's only so much that I know about football. And that is one of my weaker points, is understanding the intricacies of, how all that works.
Defensive schemes can get very complicated very fast.
Yeah.
So do you think Darnell Savage can become your CB1?
I looked at his stats briefly, and I had never heard of the guy, to be honest with you. And when I looked, I'm like, okay, this guy, he seems like he could be good to have in general. I don't know about CB1, but I would assume that Ryan Nielsen liked him.
Yeah,
and I'm going to trust his judgment on that.
I feel like he's pretty serviceable. Do you think he should wear number 21 so he can be 21 Savage?
Yeah. Are you kidding? How do you pass up that? That's like passing up $50 million guaranteed.
That's a good point.
No way. That'd be too perfect.
That's a shame he did not wear that in Green Bay. For some reason, I knew he wore 20. I'm like, shit, maybe he actually did wear 21. No, he didn't.
No, he for spring or for training camp one year, he did wear 21.
Oh, nice.
But for whatever reason, I think they have 21 retired, maybe. Because for whatever reason, he wouldn't wear it during the season. Maybe I'm wrong, but there was a reason for that. Because I remember seeing a picture of him walking out in a practice jersey with number 21 on it. But let's jump ahead to the draft real quick. And I think that's our next couple questions, actually. Maybe. Nope, just this one. Who do you want to see the Jags take at 17?
Yeah. After what happened today, wide receiver. And a lot of people are saying, what's his name? Let's see here. He's out of LSU.
Neighbors?
He's a junior.
Malik Neighbors?
No, hold on.
Oh, is it
Brian Thomas?
Yeah,
Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah. I was like, Neighbors is not falling to 17. I was like, you guys have to be trading up for that. No, Brian Thomas, that's a solid pick, actually.
Yeah, I think that if he can take that leap and put everybody where they thrive, like Kirk in the slot, and then Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis on the outside.
Yeah,
I mean, that'd be cool. That'd be awesome.
Would you be mad if they took Xavier Woolley from Texas, the 4.21 guy?
Xavier Woolley,
the dude who ran the 4.2 40-yard dash.
What position does he play? I'm really bad about following prospects.
He ran the fastest 40-yard dash ever for any position. He's a wide receiver out of Texas.
I mean, speed is great, but does he have the hands? That's all I care about, dude.
I think he's pretty good, actually. He's not top 3 wide receiver, but he's in the conversation of that second tier rookie class.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it would be great to have a man beater. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I won't derail it too much, but the big concern with Xavier Worthy is just how small he is.
Yeah, he is tiny.
Because he's like super skinny. And
like Robbie Anderson, small? Or like Robbie Chosen?
I think
Chosen,
like
whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, Robbie Chosen, you got it. I got to look up his weight. I think he's like 160. Damn. They listed him at 172, but I'm pretty sure he's like closer to 160.
I will say though, put him on an NFL diet, he could probably get up to like 185. You're not gonna run 4.2 speed and pads anyways, but like he'll still be quick.
No, he would definitely have to put on the weight because Tyreek Hill has that like top end speed, but Tyreek Hill is also like 190. So
if you could get him up to 180, 190, I feel like he'd be really good. But I do not trust him at 160.
Yeah, that's really scary.
Set him across the middle one time, you'll need 2 stretchers.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. No thanks.
All right, so we're gonna get into our final couple of questions here. What does success look like for the Jags this upcoming season?
Yeah. Protect Trevor. Protect the ball, revive the run game, and improve the defense as a whole. We really need to address our D-line. I think one of our biggest shortcomings this year was after losing Arden Key. I think that he was just he made a lot of critical plays in 2022, and I feel like we didn't really address that. So hoping for that, and I really want to see our top picks in the draft to go for a wide receiver and a corner, and really try to just build around that, because especially the wide receiver situation, I'm a little nervous about that. I really hope that they, get somebody, because
right now you got a bunch of twos. You don't have anybody who can be that true game changer.
It can work out, though. The Texans didn't really have a true number one last year, and they still played well.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I'm kind of a Nico Collins stan, man.
He showed himself as a number one, but before the season started, I was not saying Collins was a number one.
Oh, for sure.
And Tank Dell?
Tank Dell's sick too. Yeah.
Hopefully his tibia or whatever, femur, whatever, snapped in half.
Yeah, that sucked.
Hopefully that he's okay.
Yeah.
Brutal injury.
Hate to see that.
Why was he blocking a defensive lineman to begin with? That's a whole different question.
We'll go into, we're already talking about the Texans. We'll go into that in a second. But are you worried about ETN? Because he had that what is that injury called? The Liz Frank. Are you worried that he might re-aggravate that? I know that's a pretty serious injury. And
no, I'm not really worried about it. I think that the fact that he was able to really play without issue all year this year
kind of helped alleviate that.
Reassuring, yeah. But at the same time, that could be a sneaky problem for the Jags if he was to go down, because we've got the Ernest Johnson, and then we've got
no one.
Yeah, we've got,
at least the running back draft class is pretty deep this year. There's a lot of day 2, day 3 running backs that can be pretty good.
You can snag up.
Yeah.
So going back to the Texans, I mean, do you think that the Jags can take the division from the Texans next year?
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. And this is where the armchair quarterbacking comes in. Okay. Because this is a guy right here who has watched every snap of this team in the last 3-4 years. Okay. And let me tell you what happened in 2022. A lot of people fell asleep and they were snoozing on this team. And the Jags woke them up. Now, the Texans also were being slept on all year. And I tried to warn my peers, like, hey, keep an eye on the Texans, man. They're up there. Like, they're coming in with some really good talent. Like, who cares about the Colts? Who cares about the Titans? Like, guys, the Texans are on the up and up. Well, they have expended their flying under the radar token.
Yeah.
That part's over. So
you only get 1 year.
That's right. And as soon as teams figure out, like, oh, shit, CJ Stroud's a dog. This team, full of dogs. They got plays. They know what they're doing. They're going to approach the games differently. And you're going to find that, in my humble opinion, maybe not so humble, in my opinion, I think that the Texans are going to be pretty disappointed with some of the rude awakenings next year. And I don't mean that as fuck you guys. It's more of listen, you just got to know that you've put a target on your back.
Kind of like the Eagles
someone
this year.
Who's got that target on his back. Yeah, just like the Eagles. Yeah, totally.
No, I wouldn't be shocked to see not CJ Stroud regress, but have a little bit of a sophomore slump. Like
there's no way he can maintain what he did his rookie year. He was almost an MVP his rookie year.
Yeah,
there's no way he's repeating that.
Yeah,
and I've been calling this a couple of years now, and I've been wrong for a couple of years. But the Trevor Lawrence MVP season is incoming.
Yep, it is.
It's inevitable.
It is. I assure you, I have not run out of Trevor Lawrence related moxie.
A Burrow Lawrence MVP race next year,
dude. I'd love it. I would love it. That the few times they've played each other, those have been some of my favorite games. Yeah. And hey, I got to give a big shout out to the Bengals for beating the Jaguars in the Urban Meyer reign of terror.
You're welcome.
Because had they won that game, he might have not fallen off the ledge as.
That's what happens in Cincinnati, baby.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Nightlife.
Head to the chop house and get your ass fired. Yeah, no, we're not gonna.
Do you still have nightmares about Urban Meyer?
No. At this point, it's just hysterically bad to look back and be like, man, I can't believe they managed to win a couple of games with that.
Are you mad at him for like stunting Lawrence's growth for a year?
Absolutely. One of the questions on here was about like, was this season's collapse the worst in Jags history? No. Oh, no. Bringing on Urban Meyer was the worst. How to lose a locker room in 60 seconds. Dude is a nutcase.
Yeah, he is.
But hey, the way that Trevor handled that season and all of that drama nonsense was part of why I was so sold on him as a player. Like did he take it on the chin? And just like
what a terrible rookie quarterback situation though, man.
As bad as it gets, man.
Yeah, brutal.
Even ETN, like they were both rookies.
Yeah.
Well, ETN got lucky because he was hurt all year.
He was hurt.
Yeah, he didn't have to deal with
that shit.
Yeah. He got to sit out the season. He's like, thank God, man. That was a dumpster fire. That's awesome. All right, we'll end it off on one last question. And, this is one I think most people think of with, Khan as an owner and with the Jags always playing in London. But do you think Shahid Khan will relocate the team to London?
This is one of those tricky questions where it kind of depends on how you look at it, because I doubt it, and that's because practically there's too many things in the way.
Yeah.
Like, even if he wanted to, 24 other owners would have to approve that.
Yeah.
And like, I don't have a full grasp on how much money owners have to put into team travel, but I imagine that international travel brings a particular set of problems.
Yeah, they don't want to pay that.
Problems. No, yeah, exactly. And the another thing that is tricky is like where do you build the stadium?
You wouldn't build a stadium. You'd take over Tottenham.
Yeah. And I mean, that's another just gigantic barrier. And something else that I put down about this is like he needs to invest in the city of Jacksonville, because when I was there, like, not only was the game a gut punch, but that, I don't know, that I feel like that city just kind of needs some help. Like, get some new roads, clean up the place.
It feels like a lot of teams are moving that direction, though. Like, LA just did that with their SoFi Stadium. Tennessee's doing that with their new stadium. Denver is planning on doing that with their renovations. Mm-hmm. Who else is Buffalo's? Buffalo. I don't know if Buffalo's building any infrastructure. What other team's getting a new stadium? No, Jacksonville's talking about getting a new stadium.
They're talking about it, but
they'll probably invest with the infrastructure around the vicinity of the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what happened with SoFi. And it's actually really weird with the whole SoFi thing, because my wife grew up in Inglewood, Compton area. She was in that area, and it's gentrified. Yeah. Like the community she grew up with is no longer there because they've built up the area around the stadium and made it real nice. Yeah. And all that's accomplished is pushing populations out to a more crappy, less centrally located area.
Gronk only cares about money, so.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's always tricky when we get into that conversation, like about can an NFL owner invest in the city around them? And we see a lot of players do that. I mean, you saw the whole J.J. Watt Houston thing. I mean, unbelievable, kind of just like an act of heroism, right? Took it on his shoulders and ran with it. Yeah. But you don't see owners do that. And I've been to Jacksonville. I've been to a couple of places in the South. it's ghetto in the South. Like it's tough. I mean, there's a lot of, gerrymandering, gentrification.
If you could do it without gentrifying the surrounding area, I don't know how that'd be possible, but
and it's to what Brady just said, it's just like paving the roads, putting in new stores, making things nice, but also not neglecting
lights.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, I've driven through Jacksonville, and it doesn't feel like a major city, despite it being one of the, because people always talk about, it's like, oh, Jacksonville's the smallest market. And it's like, yeah, when you take the metropolitan area, it is. Yeah. But it's a huge city. Like, it has a large population of people.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest city in Florida.
Yeah, I think it is, actually. Yeah, I think it's bigger than
population,
all the other ones. And it doesn't feel like the biggest city in Florida.
No.
Miami's got way more infrastructure. Orlando's got way more infrastructure. Yeah. Tampa's got way more infrastructure. Jacksonville doesn't have anything. Yeah. And I don't know. It's asking billionaires to care about the plights of, the common man, right?
How's that going to work out?
Yeah. So we'll see. But it absolutely is something that Jacksonville does need, because I'm sure you experienced it while you're there. It's not in a great shape. And it's doing better than a lot of those other cities. It's not Shreveport. So it's got that going for it. But yeah. I don't know. Be interesting. I'm moving to Columbia in South Carolina here soon. So we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see how it's looking in the South again. But I remember last time I was there, it was not great.
Yeah. It's a great outreach program for Carolina fans.
Oh man,
they've actually had some really big signings this year. So
true.
Yeah, I'm not too sad about it, because if the Hornets and the Panthers sucks, those are some cheap tickets, and I'm only an hour and a half away.
Hey, so, true.
I'm not rooting for the team, so I can just go watch them get
just
Wally.
Go drink beer and watch football.
Exactly. Let's ride.
Let's weld, baby.
Let's weld. Let's smelt. Fucking kill me. All right. Well, we appreciate it, Brady. I don't know. Of course, we went on a little bit of political trade, but that's what we do around here. So
that's the way it goes, man.
Yeah. Thanks
for having me, guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it was a ton of fun. We really appreciate your time. Super insightful. Again, whenever these things pop up, you're going to be the first Jags fan we ask. So,
all right.
Just know you're.
We don't have many again, so.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a pretty long list. So, really, so grateful to be at the top.
You and your variants, you're the top variant. All right.
That's right.
So.
That's right.
Always hold on to that. But thank you for everybody for listening. Thank you, Brady, for joining us. And let's ride.
Are you looking for a podcast to advertise your business? Well, you're in luck. Here at the Fourth Down Fiasco, we're looking for show sponsors. Whether you want to be a platinum sponsor and be mentioned at the beginning and end of every episode, or you just want a simple 30 or 60-second ad, we got you covered. If you're interested in having a spot on our show, you can reach us at fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. That's fourthdownfiasco@gmail.com. We are excited to hear from you, and even more excited to have you on the show. Join the Fiasco family now.
Hey, tell the truth, how you settle in? Your team is veterans, so how you cope with where you sit this season? Better spin, better rhetoric, but tell as great as teams have been. I ask the question of you now to see the thoughts you spin. FANBASE Fiasco, don't think that I'm irrational. My team better than your team, and that's just facts, bro. We've been examples. Don't think this year don't mean much. This legacy you talking about, let me tell you about my team, son.
All right, welcome back to another edition of FANBASE Fiasco, our off-season segment here on Fourth Down Fiasco, where we give power back to the fans. With me today is a man who is currently serving our country and may have the most awkward riz out of any man I've ever seen, but it works for him. Please help me in welcoming Atlanta rapper, serviceman, OMO Kenny. Say hello to the people, Kenny.
It was good. What's good? Shout out to all my Falcons fans out there.
Okay, I like already repping your set. See, that's how I know you from Atlanta, because you already repping.
Oh yeah.
So for those of y'all who don't know, Kendall has actually made multiple songs with Cam, who y'all heard on our intro song. As a reminder, you can download Cam's book, Working on the Process, on Amazon. You can also download his music on Spotify and Apple Music. And Kendall, people can download your music as well, right?
Shoot, I mean, yeah, they can download my music. It's under Odd Man Out, ODDMANOUT. And
one word,
it's
right?
on all platforms with Cam. So
yeah, hell
check
yeah.
both of us out.
Yeah. Hey, for those of y'all listening, Kendall's incredibly talented. I have seen the man perform live, and he knows how to shut it down. So definitely go download some music for sure.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got you. But hey, we got to dive into the hard-hitting stuff first. I didn't write this question down because you know how we do with our first questions here. I'm not going to ask you about the Super Bowl. I'm going to avoid all questions about it. I'm going to be respectful. But I do need to know, how does it feel to have a Matt Ryan variant at the helm as quarterback this upcoming year?
So it wasn't my first choice, honestly, for quarterback. But, I mean...
I like Kirk, bro. I like Kirk.
I like Kirk. Hey, look, Captain Kirk, Big Kirko. Like, I think he's gonna fit well.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirk's gonna fit well in Atlanta. Like, and I've already seen it during this offseason. Like, he's gonna rep us pretty well, and I think he has good talent around him. So, like, I could see us doing like much better than we did our previous years under like Mariota, Desmond Ritter. Like, I could see us
better than Desmond Ritter.
Oh, anything is better than Desmond Ritter. We could get.
Hey, I'll drink to that.
Exactly. Let me drink to that. But if we could get a 7-10 win or record season with Desmond Ritter, we're gonna pop off a Kirk.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I mean, again, y'all are right there. You have good talent on both sides of the ball, and I would even venture to say Justin Jefferson is more talented than anyone else on your roster as far as skill position wise, but I think y'all have more talented overall skill position players than Minnesota does, and I think y'all have a better offensive line too.
So our offensive line has been holding it down. We got Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. We just picked up Darnell Mooney. Like, our offense is looking kind of stacked for real. So,
and you also picked up Mac Hollins too, didn't you? I think he'll be a really good third option for y'all.
Oh yeah. Along with that, we also got what's that guy's name? Moore. From the Cardinals.
Darnell. DJ Moore? Did y'all get DJ Moore? Is he still in the league?
No. There's another Moore that we got. I can't think of the name right now.
Let me look up y'all's free agency pickups. But no, I think that y'all are definitely right there. I mean, the fact that y'all were able to go 7-10 with Desmond Ritter at the helm, like.
Yeah.
And Kirk is one of those quarterbacks, we talk about it all the time on this pod, that most quarterbacks, really anyone other than Pat Mahomes, and maybe you could argue a Joe Burrow in that mix, all other quarterbacks in this league need help. No one else can just do it by themselves. And that's completely fine. But Kirk Cousins is definitely one of those guys that, if you give him weapons, then he's good. Like he is nasty with it if you give him weapons. I'm not seeing a more in y'all's free agency, but y'all did. Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, Charlie Warner. Oh, y'all got Jonnu Smith? Man.
Wait, I thought we just released Jonnu Smith.
Let's see. Oh, from Atlanta to Miami. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Okay. I was like, whoa. Oh, but okay, y'all got McLeod again. I'm just looking through some of these right now. I don't like how they have this formatted because it's like they have everything, people who have left y'all and people that y'all signed. But overall, I think that y'all had a pretty solid free agency, especially, the Kirk signing just overall.
Oh, yeah.
It's the number one thing y'all needed,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We really just needed to change our quarterback, change our head coach, and then we'd be cooking, which we did this offseason. So I'm actually real glad about that. The one downside, though, for the Kirk Cousins thing is I think we gave him a little too much money.
It's Kirk. If you want a top 10 quarterback in the league, you've got to fork over a shit ton of money, and that's the unfortunate thing, And Kirk's on that top 10 fringe.
And easily. I wouldn't say he's like bottom 5 part, but he's definitely. Like 7, 8, 9, 10 area.
Yeah, somewhere in that range. So let me do this. I am going to steer away from actual football talk real quick because we love to learn about fan bases and stuff. So the folks at home are probably curious. Maybe they're not. Who knows? But how did you become a fan of the Atlanta Falcons? I know, but the people don't.
All right. Well, it's a real easy story. I'm from Georgia, born and raised.
You don't say.
There. Exactly. Lived there for like 18 years before going off to college. And I've been Atlanta everything. So when it comes to the Hawks, the Braves, the Falcons, even when we had a hockey team, the Thrashers,
and those Georgia Bulldogs, nice. Those Georgia Bulldogs, nice too.
Hey, the Bulldogs really holding it down for us, for real. But,
yeah, they are the stars of your little metro area for sure. So who's your favorite player growing up then?
Growing up, my favorite player. Probably, it's hard choice. It's either Michael Vick or Julio Jones, but. As I was growing up, I was watching football, but I wasn't invested in football like I am now. So I didn't really get to appreciate Michael Vick like he should have been. Of course, I had the Madden 04 game with Michael Vick on it.
Absolute cheat code, bro. Absolute cheat code.
But I didn't get to really appreciate him while he was in Atlanta. So I guess I would have to lean closer to Julio Jones just because, it's a guaranteed catch if the ball is going to him.
Prime Julio was an absolute animal. I'm with you on that. He was fun to watch for sure. And then, him and Mike, I also had the Madden 04 game and loved it. But so you mentioned, getting a new head coach. How do you feel? How does the overall fan base feel, if you have any insight on that, about Raheem Morris as the new head coach?
Okay, so I was heavily invested in seeing who we were going to pick up for head coach because it seems like everybody was making switches on head coach.
Oh, yeah. It was a crazy offseason for that.
Oh, most definitely. And initially, I was thinking we're either going to get Bill Belichick or Vrabel. And once I heard that we picked up Raheem Morris, I was like, that is way out of left field because we had some stacked head coaches that were coming down to Atlanta to see us and do interviews with us. And I thought we were picking up one of them. And then out of the blue was just, we're getting Raheem Morris. I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but I guess.
But yeah, I definitely thought. Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I've heard he's able to bring in a whole bunch of people together. I heard that players are willing to die for this man. They're willing to do anything for this dude. So I guess he got a good track record with the players.
Yeah, I remember because y'all had a very extensive list of head coaches that wanted to come coach. Because again, y'all, aside from quarterback, y'all have a squad,
Oh, yeah.
And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, okay, Belichick would be crazy just because there's way more talent in Atlanta than there is in New England right now, and he would have a field day with that. But I personally like the Raheem Morris signing because the way that I've heard him described sounds very similar to DeMeco Ryans with the Texans. And so, he's one of those player-oriented coaches that also was a player himself. And so, he gets the ins and outs of all the bullshit that goes on throughout a season. He's able to connect with guys better. So I personally think that y'all have a winner in Raheem. I think that you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised with him.
Oh, yeah. I would, after a few days of really letting it sink in, I kind of, I think I got to start liking who we picked up for head coach. It just was a throw into left field for me. I didn't even see that happening, but I'm starting to warm up to him.
Fair enough. I mean, is there anything that you think that he brings to the table that maybe Arthur Smith didn't?
So the thing with Arthur Smith, I think his game plans were like a little too predictable because he right off the gate, I know for this season in particular, or I mean the last season in particular, he was really saying like, we're going to be a run first offense. And I knew whenever it was first down, I could guarantee you that Bijan Robinson or Tyler Algier were going to get the ball because we're going to run first. Like that was his motto. We're a run first offense. And I'm like, I feel like defenses are just going to pick up on that like super easily. And I feel like with Raheem Morris, I feel we are able to be a little less predictable, and I think we'll be able to switch up the game plan a little bit more coming into this season.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm glad that you actually mentioned Bijan and all of that. Do you know why Bijan wasn't utilized as quite as much as we would have expected last year? Is there any reason for that, do you think?
I really couldn't give you an answer on that. I know like Bijan he's a solid running back, but we also have Tyler Algier, which his rookie season he ended up breaking 1,000 yards. So we already got a stacked running back right there as well. So I think we're really just trying to play off the two. So we're not like overusing one. Because Tyler Algier, he is solid.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I had him in fantasy. I think his rookie year. Yeah, what was that? 2 seasons ago? Yeah, no, he was great in fantasy. I mean, I can respect that because something that we Cowboys fans talk about all the time is we run our running backs into the dirt, and we're constant. I mean, you look at Zeke and just how quick his decline was, and it was because, we're going to give him the ball 25 times a game, and he's taking all these hits. But more what I'm thinking about with Bijan that I didn't see, and granted, I only caught probably about 3 Falcons games last year. But something that he really excelled at in college that, he will probably excel at in the pros as well is being a slot receiver,
Oh, yeah,
Texas used to line him up in the slot, and that dude is nasty out in the slot. And so, I'm all for Algiers getting his, honestly, being RB1 is fine, but use Bijan more as the same way that San Fran uses like Debo and they use Ayuk, where sometimes they run, sometimes they're in the slot, sometimes you just don't know where they're at,
Right. And I was hoping to see more of that throughout the season because when we did do those plays, like Bijan was going with it. And he's such an elusive player. Like I'm sure a lot of people have seen his highlight reels where he's like stepping one way, having the defender just flop. Like it's crazy. Like he's such an elusive player. And I wish we would have used him more like in the past. And not just always have them behind the quarterback to run it. But, I mean, I think with Raheem Morris, like, we're going to get a little bit more of that kind of Bijan.
No, yeah, I think that I'm hoping he'll bring some spice to that offense for sure. I think also having a mind like Kirk Cousins, because I mean he's such a good pre-snap quarterback. I think that he'll figure out ways to set his guys up where he might do some sort of an audible, and you'll see Bijan go in motion, go into the slot, and go from there. Speaking of your just offensive strategy in general, I mean, I know that Raheem Morris kind of clears up a lot of questions, but are there any, I don't know what your OC situation is, but are there any splash signings that maybe you would like to see for your offensive coordinator or anything like that?
Shoot, we did sign an offensive coordinator. Okay. I can't think of the name right now. I want to say he came from University of Washington or something like that. Like he came from a university. I think.
If y'all hold on one second. Yeah, Zach Robinson.
Don't quote me on it.
No. Zach Robinson. Oh, actually, he was the LA Rams offensive coordinator. Honestly, that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
that's nice.
So he's picking up people from other sides of the NFL universe and bringing them over to Atlanta.
Bro,
so yeah,
I
we did sign somebody.
Okay.
I just couldn't. I haven't. That's not been my the main thing I've been paying attention to, really. But yeah, we signed somebody as soon as Raheem Morris got signed. I think it was like a week later, and we had our offensive coordinator.
Sick. Okay, nice. And I mean, just looking at it, I mean, the Rams had a really good offense for the most part, and so, and that's with, I can't say limited talent because Puka Nacua went off, and obviously you still have what's his face? I'm so bad that I'm spacing on his name now. Cooper Kupp, but in a way, it almost. There are certain aspects about their offense, especially their run game, that feel very one-dimensional, and it's because of talent. It's not really because of game plan.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that y'all will be set with Robbins as your OC. I think that that's a good pickup for y'all.
Yeah, and I feel like if we could mimic like the Rams kind of offense, I think we're gonna win our division. At least we're gonna make it to the playoffs.
At least, yeah. So okay, then let me ask you, what does success look like for y'all next season? Like, what is if you don't meet this particular marker, it's an unsuccessful season?
Okay. So I have two things. We could do one of two things where I'll say we had a successful season. We could, one, make it to the playoffs, which every team is going for at least. And two, if we have a winning record, because for the past 3 seasons, we've been 7-10.
Dang.
Ever since 2021, it's been 7-10, 2022, 7-10, 2023, 7-10. So if we have a winning record this year, I will say it's a success.
Okay. Fair enough.
Even if we don't make it to the playoffs, I just need to see that we can start winning again.
I mean, I think that y'all will make the playoffs because y'all are going to be better than the Saints.
We're not even worried about the Panthers.
Yeah, Lord knows we're not worried about the Panthers. Ain't nobody worried about the Panthers. And even with the Bucks, I mean, they're fun and exciting, but they play a lot of sloppy football sometimes.
They do.
They win a lot of grungy games, whereas I think that with the amount of talent that y'all have on offense and honestly even on defense too, that y'all shouldn't be put in situations where you're relying on Kirk Cousins to pull a Baker Mayfield and you've got 3 picks but you got 5 touchdowns. We're gonna win a game by 2 points because of a last second field goal. I think that y'all will be a little bit more polished.
Most definitely
will be
with Kirk. Like, hold on. Actually, first let me just say, when we had Desmond Ridder, this man was a turnover beast. He was turning it over every single time. Literally, I remember seeing one game, he threw for 3 interceptions. I was like, all right, it was just a sloppy game. Let's go to the next game. Next week, he fumbled the ball 3 times. I'm like, we cannot win like this. We cannot win like this. So
it's not sustainable.
I am so glad we picked up Kirk because anything would be better than Desmond Ridder. But then we get a top 10 quarterback too. Like, oh yeah, this next season, I can already smell the success. Like, we're ready.
I think y'all are going to get a playoff berth. Honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if y'all made some noise in the playoffs. It really just depends on how y'all handle the draft, I think, because there are still a couple of holes left on the team. Nothing that's just so jarring that you can't win games without. But let's dive into that a little bit, and let's talk draft. What do you think is your team's biggest need? Like you personally, now that quarterback is fixed?
Yeah, quarterback's fixed. Honestly, our biggest need is a defensive end. Or an outside linebacker.
Okay.
So I can't remember a single time in my life where we've been sack heavy. We do not bring pressure to the quarterback at all, and I've never seen a season where we have. So we definitely need to fix up our defensive end game, start bringing more pressure. And for the draft, I was hoping that we would end up with Dallas Turner from Alabama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a stud. He's a stud.
Oh, yeah. So
it's funny that you mentioned the defensive line. This rumor came out less than 24 hours ago, and nothing's been confirmed. But Haason Reddick from the Eagles has been linked to y'all.
Yeah, I've heard about that rumor, and I don't know what we would be able to trade for him. Honestly, I'm thinking like maybe our second round pick of this year.
Well, I believe he's a free agent is the thing.
Oh, he's a free agent? Oh, snap. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's not a trade rumor. It's a free agency rumor.
Oh, see, I feel like we probably would need to have more money for him, but he would be a solid fit. I was running through stats earlier today with Haason Reddick, and if he were to stay in Atlanta for the rest of his career, he would already be the number 5 overall sack producer in Atlanta.
Wow. So yeah, if you like copy and pasted what he did with Philly and put it
into Atlanta, yes, he would already be number 5 of all time in Atlanta. Literally, let's see. There's one person, John Abraham, who has only 10 more sacks than he does. And everybody else in that top 5 list that I mentioned was before this century.
Wow.
Exactly. So when I say I've never seen our defensive ends or do anything, that's what I'm talking about.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's rough, man. Yeah, no, I mean, I would love to see him with y'all. I think that, I hate saying it as a Cowboys player, but man, I love Haason Reddick, bro. Like,
oh yeah,
he is just, his motor never stops. Like, there were times, especially in the Eagles losing streak, that you could see players giving up, and Haason Reddick was not one of them. And he just seems so angry on the field, and you need just nasty, angry defensive linemen, to truly be successful.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like that's the only way you can thrive on defense. You got to be angry. You got to get after. You got
to be angry. You got to be bitter. You got to treat everybody like they slapped your mama. Like, you got to run through people. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. To see those rumors being linked to y'all. Also, are y'all gonna re-sign Calais Campbell? What's going on with that?
That is an interesting question. Like, I'm surprised we haven't already done it, because he was I think he was the leading sacker for Atlanta. Him and Bud Dupree. They both had like 6 sacks, like 10 sacks, something like that. They were both leading in our sack. Hold on a second. Yo, I'm doing an interview right now. Sorry, my roommate's here.
No, you good. What's up, bro?
Hey, guys, man. He's off to his side. All right, bro.
Kendall, I'll re-ask the question about Haason Reddick.
Yeah. Go for it, bro. Go. Or no. Re-ask the question about Calais Campbell.
Oh yeah, Calais Campbell. You're right. Yeah. So what's going on with Calais Campbell? Y'all gonna re-sign him? What's going on over there?
Yeah, so that's definitely an interesting question. I'm surprised we haven't signed him already. He was our leading sacker in Atlanta, and he is getting up there in age, but he could definitely teach the younger dudes, and I think he's definitely the go-to person when it comes to like showing the ropes, when it comes to the defensive side, being on the defensive line. So I'm surprised we haven't picked him up yet. He's, if I remember correctly, he's still a free agent. So I'm hoping we get our money together and get him back. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we're doing with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, veteran, solid production. I mean, he's not the guy that he used to be, obviously, because I mean, he used to be a perennial Pro Bowler back in the day. But you know, a guy
he's still
that
productive, though.
Yeah, a guy who still gives you good production and that doesn't make dumb mistakes. You know, there's never a time where, yeah, sometimes his body isn't athletic enough anymore that he can make certain plays, but you never see him out of position. And he's also a really strong voice in the locker room, and he's one of those guys that, to your point, yeah, dude, especially if y'all draft any, you know, defensive lineman or really any defenders, period. Like he's a heart and soul of y'all's defense, or was, you know, at least at one point or another. And I think people don't recognize just how important it is to have a vocal veteran leader in your locker room. And I think of, I'm switching to basketball here, but, you know, I think of like the Dallas Mavs, like Kyrie Irving has improved so many of our players just by being Kyrie Irving. You know, like Luka. Yeah, like Luka isn't really he's not a very vocal leader, but I've seen such improvement from guys like Josh Green and Jaden Hardy and other guys because Kyrie is there teaching them how to be better players. And I think that the same thing can be applied to any sport, honestly. And Calais Campbell has that experience, that knowledge, that production value that, you know, these youngins that come in, he can give them so much knowledge and just make them such better players.
Oh yeah, he's definitely the mentor type when it comes to just a locker room setting. So,
and guys love him.
I would love for him to come back. I don't know why we have not signed him yet. So, Falcons do better.
So, anybody else from old boy from Atlanta that you're hoping that y'all draft?
So like I said, if I were the owner of the Falcons, I would definitely say that we're going for Dallas Turner, just because of the stats I gave you for our defensive ends and all that stuff. But honestly, I also wouldn't be mad if we picked up Roma Doomsday or Malik Neighbors. Okay. Because I feel like you can't have too many wide receivers.
Fair. What about anything at like for the secondary? Any corners, safeties, anything like that? Because something that I did notice was, while it wasn't a glaring issue, I would say that it is one of the bigger weaknesses on your defense is probably just DBs. So anybody that stands out to you right now?
Shoot. I honestly haven't even been looking in that realm because it's not as bad as our D-end issue right now. So I really haven't even been looking at like who we could pick up as a cornerback or, safety. Honestly, I think we're solid at safety because Jesse Bates has been doing his thing.
Yeah, Bates is good.
But I don't know. I would have to look into cornerbacks. I'm sure we're going to draft one probably later on, maybe like third, fourth round. I could see us drafting a cornerback. I think we're probably going to draft defensive heavy this year just because, Raheem Morris is a defensive minded coach.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see us doing that.
I also one guy that I would love to see on y'all's team. What is his name? Cooper DeJean, the white guy from Iowa. That's a corner. Because I think that let me look it up. I think he's projected to be like a second or third round pick. Let me see. Projected draft pick. Oh no, they're saying because of his how good he did in the combine, they're thinking that he's going to be a late first. Maybe y'all won't get him. If he slips to that second round, bro, y'all need to pick him up because that dude is a baller. He got that dog in him. I would love to see him on your team, bro. That shit would be, especially it being Atlanta. I love cool white dudes that are in black communities. Like Kirk. Dude, Kirk is gonna have a field day in Atlanta, bro.
Oh yeah, most definitely. definitely. Like, shoot, all right, if you look at offensive line, all white dudes. If you look at defensive line, it's all black dudes. I would love to see a white cornerback just running the game.
And he's fast, bro. Like that ain't your stereotypical white player right there. That is
he got a little black in him somewhere.
Because he had like 3 or 4 pick sixes over the course of his 3-year college career. I mean, like,
oh yeah.
When he catches it, he's gone. He's gone. So yeah, if he slips to the second round, bro, you've got to get him because I think that would really round out your secondary for sure.
Okay. Sure. Let me do more research on him, but
yeah, I'm glad I put him on your radar. I'm glad I put him on your radar.
Yeah, put him on my radar, but put me on.
Oh man. Well, hey, so just kind of we've been talking a lot about like free agency, draft picks, improving the team. I do want to spend a little bit of time like reflecting on the past season that y'all did have, because again, even with it being 7-10, the fact that y'all went 7-10 with the worst quarterback in the NFL, no offense. Second worst, Zach Wilson's on a roster. I forgot.
That's very true.
Second worst quarterback in the NFL, still going 7-10 is pretty impressive. Kind of give me your favorite moment and the worst moment from this past season.
Jesus. When you say favorite moment, there's honestly, it's hard to come by any, really. Okay, I got one. Our win against the Packers, it was week 2, and we had a comeback drive. Or it was either a comeback drive or the Packers had the ball with a few minutes left and our defense was able to stop them. And regardless, that was probably one of our better things that we did this season. But worst? I got plenty in mind. Plenty. How about, what was it? It was in the later weeks when the football gods blessed us. The Carolina Panthers did not score a single touchdown. They scored 3 field goals, so they had 9 points, and we only scored 1 touchdown. So we lost to the Carolina Panthers, and we were one of their 2 wins that year.
Oof.
Let's talk about the Cardinals, when I think they only had 1 win and they had like 6 losses, and we ended up losing to the Cardinals
at that point. Yeah,
we lost to the Cardinals when they only had 1 win. Let's talk about the Vikings when they didn't have Kirk Cousins. They had
Dobbs.
Yeah, they had Dobbs. I was about to say, oh boy, that looked like the Goonies character.
No, you didn't, bro.
Hey. I'm just saying, bro.
Hey, bro.
Anyways,
Charlie Villanueva looking ass.
Exactly. They had Dobbs running it on us. We ended up losing to them. So I'm telling you, I have plenty of what the F kind of moments.
Oh man, I didn't mean to set you off like that. Damn.
No, trust me. I have watched every single game of last season, and I can tell you we had a lot of bad times. But a change is coming, man. A change is coming.
Oh yeah, a storm is brewing in Atlanta, and it is the right kind of storm for y'all. I'm going to be honest. Again, I know that we said that success looks like just a winning record. I think y'all are making the playoffs, and honestly, whoever y'all play in that first round, they need to look out. I don't care. It could be, it could be the best team in the NFL. It could be San Fran. It could be San Fran. It could be the Eagles. It could be, fill in the blank with any Detroit, the Rams. It does not matter. That first playoff game that y'all play next season, people need to look out because.
I think we're coming for heads this season.
I think that there's a lot of guys in y'all's locker room who just because of the way things shook out were very upset with how things were ran. I think there's a lot of guys on your team that have chips on their shoulder right now because again, whenever quarterback is your biggest weakness and you have a glaring, Desmond Ritter sized weakness, it's hard on the rest of the team because the quarterback is such an important position where even if you have an average quarterback, you guys have a winning record, truly.
Right.
You know, if you pluck Kyler Murray onto your team, y'all have a winning record, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that guys recognize that it doesn't matter how good we play, we're still going to lose because this guy sucks. And I think that there's a lot of guys on your team right now that have a lot to prove and that want to hurt a lot of folks in a legal, non-dirty way, you know.
Exactly.
We're not talking about not the Saints. We're not talking about the Saints. Whenever Peyton was the head coach, but
exactly, they were actually coming for bodies. They were trying to put people 6 feet under.
Yeah, but I think you all have some guys on your team that, you know, they want to up their sack numbers. They want to get more yards receiving. They want to get more yards rushing. They want to get more pancakes. Like you've got guys on that team that are hungry. You've got a lot of young, talented guys on that team that are wanting to, you know, experience what a winning season's like. That, you know, have been there for, you know, a year, 2 years, 3 years. So, y'all are going to be frightening. So you went through best and worst moments. Overall, though, what would you grade this past season, like A through F?
I know I mentioned a whole lot of like bad things that
there's context. Yeah, there's context
in the past season, but
yeah,
I would give us probably a C-.
That's actually exactly what I would give y'all personally. Yeah,
because it's not like we improved. It's not like we decreased in our like productivity. We got the same record we have for the past 2 years.
Yeah.
But the reason why I don't say C and I give a C- is because we had one of the easiest schedules last year.
Yeah.
Because
y'all's division was weak too.
Exactly. Our division was weak. We played the Cardinals. We
played a Kirkless Minnesota.
Kirkless Vikings. Like these are like easy wins. These are games we're supposed to win, and we blew it. We blew it.
I'm in the same boat. C- was my grade because in context, I don't think anybody expected y'all to be particularly great this season. I think going into the season, we all kind of expected like the 7-10, you know, maybe an 8-9 kind of deal.
Right.
But along with that, y'all had some young dudes who really shined. And whenever your two biggest weaknesses are head coach and quarterback, and you still end up, 7-10, and towards the end of the season, y'all were still in the playoff mix just because of your division.
We're still in the race.
Yeah, so I think all those things included, and then especially once you include what y'all did in the offseason to actually improve. It wasn't the worst Atlanta season that I've seen, but it's definitely not the best one that I've seen. So
I'm hoping for next season. I'm giving them like a B+. That's if we have a winning record and or we make it to the playoffs. So
I think it's I think it's B- if y'all get a winning record. I think it's B+ if y'all make playoffs, and if y'all win a playoff game, it's an A.
It's automatically an A for me if we win a playoff game.
Yeah, automatically an A at that point, especially in context of what y'all have been going through.
Exactly.
Well, cool. So last question on the docket. We always try to end on kind of a lighter note, just because I know sometimes with teams it's hard to be super optimistic, but
you had me riled up earlier.
Oh dog, yeah. As soon as I started talking about worst moments of the season, I was like, oh shit, I got him on a tangent right now, bro.
Exactly.
But yeah, on a more positive note, if there is anyone from, and it doesn't matter what period of Falcons football, it could be before you really started watching football, when you did, it doesn't matter, but what is one player in all of Falcons history that if you could just pluck them out of that era and drop them onto your team right now, who would it be?
I have to go with Deion Sanders, man.
Dog. Hey, bro, there would be no reason for Cooper DeJean for y'all. It would be the Dion show.
It would be the Dion show, bro. We hitting the dirty bird, bro. Like every single game.
Oh man,
I would have loved to see him play, like in this era right now. Of course, the era back then, like that's cool and all, but like I didn't get to visually see that. But.
Yeah. I think you and I kind of relate on that because that's definitely one of those players. Like him and probably him out of even like the Cowboys players that I can think of now, from back in the day. I mean, yeah, we had like Roger and we had Michael Irvin and other guys, but as far as a talent that you don't see often,
right. He was a different breed. He is a different breed.
He is, yeah. And, also playing baseball too at the same time was wild. And I think for me, especially seeing Dion, as a Cowboys fan also would have been that same thing, especially now, like you mentioned, because I'm going to be honest, I think he would have had more picks because they throw the ball so much more now. I think, because he had a couple of high pick seasons and early on in his career with y'all, and like one high pick season with the Cowboys, and then people quickly realized we should probably stop throwing on Dion's side of the field. Whereas quarterbacks now don't give a shit. We've
they
seen
just
it
gonna
with,
chuck it up there, hope their wide receiver get it.
Yeah, and there's also guys who rely on think that their arms are better than they are, i.e. Josh Allen. That, hey, bro, we are the number one podcast for Josh Allen hating.
Oh my god!
But guys like him. I mean, there's plenty of other guys like him that Dak also does the same thing. Where I'm like, dude, why would you throw that at Sauce Gardner?
Right. That's probably not the best idea.
Yeah, just like guys who throw at Trayvon Diggs or even Deron Bland now. I'm like, why would you throw that ball? Why? You know that he's the leading corner for pick sixes. Why would you throw that? And I think that a lot of quarterbacks just really rely on their arms, and I think that Dion would have a fucking field day.
Oh yeah, he would be up in everybody's face.
Oh, for sure.
He would be running the show, bro. But yeah, that would definitely be my pick. Deion Sanders, like all time.
Hell yeah. Well, cool. Before we finish up, anything else you want to plug? I mean, I know we already plugged your music, but social media handles, any other projects you're working on, this is kind of your time to let people know how to follow you and things like that.
Shoot. I haven't even been on social media like that. I am making new music. Hopefully I will be putting my music out eventually. I'm just trying to make sure everything is set the way I want it to be, but
that it clears through the United States military.
Exactly. The military is my main job, but my music is my side gig. It's my side thing. So hopefully I'll be putting music out a little later on in my naval career, and I'll probably have y'all, or I'll share it with y'all later on. But right now, just doing my thing. Not really on social media much, but shouts to all the Falcons fan again.
Yeah. Hey, ATL, baby. You heard.
ATL all day, every day.
Well, cool. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Again, this has been Kendall Harper, a.k.a. OMO Kenny. You can get his music if you search Odd Man Out, all one word, on Apple Music, Spotify, all those fun things. Kendall's a longtime friend of mine as well, roommate in college, one of my groomsmen, homie for life. But yeah, give him, we'll make sure to post out his social media handles and stuff so y'all can follow him and whatnot if y'all want to. But yeah, thanks for listening. We appreciate your time, and we will see y'all next week.